So, what is the value of a good night's sleep? And why are we constantly being told that we need to get a good night's sleep? So, what do we mean by sleep? What is it? Why is it so important? So, these are all different kinds of questions that come up and are quite interesting. I'm Marianne from One Life to Flourish, and welcome to a series for those dreaming of making the leap from their job to being a business owner. Now, today's episode is all about self-care, in particular, making sure you get enough sleep and why. So before we begin, just a little bit of housekeeping, I suppose. So first of all, if you know someone who would be very interested in the topic of sleep, please make sure you invite them over so they can get some really helpful information. Otherwise, we are going live into a few different locations. The place of origin is My Time TV Live. So that's where I'll be able to see your comments. Otherwise, I'll catch up with you after the broadcast. I think that's all I need to let you know there. So, all right. Excuse me. So let's get back to thinking about sleep. Now, I don't know about anyone else, but if you were in Adelaide last night, that was probably something that it was a little bit tricky to get. I know I found it a little bit hard to get enough sleep because it was quite warm. But generally speaking, in your usual conditions, we should be able to get a good night's sleep. So, what is sleep? Now, this is where I'm starting because actually sleep is something that it's still a little bit confusing about, what it is. Even scientists don't fully understand what sleep really is. So if we go to a little bit of a dictionary definition, we have from the Free Dictionary the meaning of sleep as being a natural periodic state of rest for the mind and body in which the eyes usually close and consciousness is completely or partially lost, so that there is a decrease in bodily movement and responsiveness to external stimuli. So that sort of sounds a bit like it, doesn't it? Now, the interesting part of the definition is the part that is talking about natural. So sleep is natural for your body to do. And we shouldn't actually try and resist sleep. We should allow it to happen because there are reasons why it's natural. There's reasons why your body should be in a state of sleep at, a certain point every single day. And in actual fact, prolonging the period between not sleeping is actually dangerous to the point of being life-threatening in extreme cases. So we may not know exactly what sleep is. We know we need it. And we know we need it because there are so many amazing benefits to having enough sleep. And this is something that's actually been researched over a long period of time. So the fact is that the big benefit of sleep is that it's anabolic. In other words, it builds you up. And this is the opposite of what's actually happening to your body when you're awake. The state of being awake is catabolic, or it breaks you down. So sleep is actually a highly elevated anabolic state, meaning that it helps to rebuild you and keep you youthful. Woo. It heightens the growth and rejuvenation of quite a few systems in your body, but in particular, your immune system, your skeletal system, and your muscular system, and lots of other benefits. Now, Sean Stevenson, who's the author of a really interesting book called Sleep Smarter, says, unless you give your body the right amount of sleep, you will never, I repeat, never have the body and life you want to have. That's a pretty powerful statement, isn't it? But based on all of the research, it's also a true statement because it is backed up by lots of different kinds of research. Now, the problem that we currently have, probably starting a few generations back, is that we've actually been gradually undermining the importance of sleep in our society. So before we became really highly industrialized and now really, I suppose, technicalized, if there's such a word, our ancestors were generally guided by the sun to decide on when it was time to be up and doing things and when it was time to be having a rest. So there's the old English saying of early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. And that was kind of how they lived their life, even though they had access to candles and lamps and that sort of thing. The average person didn't stay up late, and they certainly didn't have, technology that was there to interfere with their natural sleep rhythms. In fact, the use of things like firelight and candlelight didn't impact in the same way that our lighting does. Now, the topic of sleep is a massive one with lots of different things that I could talk about, really interesting things. But today I've just decided to narrow it down to a very, very basic but interesting thing to think about. So I'm going to look at how poor quality sleep makes us dumber. All right. So if we're not getting enough sleep, we're becoming less smart. Now, obviously, this is what's happening in the brain. So research has found that after as little as 24 hours of sleep deprivation, which doesn't seem like very much at all, there's actually an overall reduction of 6% of glucose reaching the brain. Now, glucose is the fuel for your brain, and we actually need it to be able to think and function and not be dumb, okay? Not make bad decisions. So the reason why you may find yourself craving lollies, chips, chocolate, other starchy, sugary kinds of foods when you haven't had enough sleep is because your body is trying to get you to give it the fuel it needs to function well. It's trying to go for a quick fix. So if we're not getting enough quality sleep, our body has to search for some glucose. And this has the impact of actually overriding any beliefs you have around healthy eating, any healthy habits you already have in place or might be working towards creating, which is even worse. So I'm sure if I asked you to put your hand up if you've ever made a really stupid decision when you're feeling tired, I'm pretty sure I'd have pretty much close to 100% of you putting your hands up, wouldn't I? Mine included. So basically we have something called the brain drain that we get when we're not getting enough good quality sleep. Now, there's something that makes it worse. So I mentioned the 6% reduction in glucose. Now, that's an average figure across the brain. What scientists have discovered is that in two really important areas of the brain that we need for being smart, the parietal lobe and the prefrontal cortex, the reduction is actually double or more of that average. So 12 to 14%. So these two areas are our thinking and deciding parts of the brain. And basically, they're working on, our ideas, how we control ourselves socially, how we can distinguish between right and wrong. So, for example, this means something like when you don't get enough sleep, your prefrontal cortex actually starts to shut down because there's not enough fuel to keep it going. So this puts the body into action, needs to find a quick fix. So it goes and finds sources of glucose that you've consumed in the past that it knows will give you that. So it'll just override any of your goals and any of your willpower, and you'll be sent off desperately seeking out things like your potato chips, your ice cream, chocolate bars, anything that's going to give your brain that quick fix. And then after you've consumed all of that stuff, you get into that sort of cycle of self-blame because you think it's your fault that it happened. Although I suppose it kind of is if we haven't got enough sleep. It depends on why you haven't got enough sleep. So if we want to be smarter, then we need to actually make sure that we're getting enough sleep so that we can make the choices that we want to make and live the life that we want to live. So if you want to lose weight, if you want to get fitter, if you want to get better marks if you're a student, if you want to improve your job prospects or just improve the way you do your job, then it may be that looking at your sleep is the place to start. So this is something that I've discovered for myself. I have actually found, well, I've struggled with sleep for quite a lot of my life actually, but I've discovered that hypnosis has been an answer for me. Now, even if I'm having hypnosis just for anything else, I find that I actually have an improvement in my sleep. So this is the reason why I've put together my eHypnotherapy Sleep Soundly program, because hypnosis really can make a huge difference on what's happening with your sleep patterns and how that works. So if you would be interested in improving your sleep through hypnosis, I am offering at the moment a massive 50% off the Sleep Soundly program. If you just post sleep into the comments, that can be either live or in the replay, and I'll get back to you with some details, but it is something that really can be like a circuit breaker if you struggle with your sleep. All right, next week I am not going to be here. I'm actually going to be off doing some studies, so I'll need to make sure that I've had plenty of sleep so that my brain is at peak. So the following Saturday, which I think is the 12th, I will be back at 12 p.m, so slightly different time. And my special guest is Jeanette Scapins, who is an amazing person to talk to, a wealth of knowledge. And her particular area of interest is actually around weight loss. But she's got a really interesting journey around how she became a business owner. So please join me then. Please let me know if you would like some help with sleep as well, just by putting sleep into the comments. And I hope you have a really great rest of the weekend. For those of us in Adelaide, it looks like our change is kind of here. So hopefully we'll be able to sleep really well tonight and to enjoy some cooler days for a little while. So bye for now.